Okay, I do believe I'm live. I know there's a little delay here, so and I know it's really late. Okay, really late, even late for the West Coast. It's pretty late. I was working my little butt off all day, and then towards the middle of the day, I started doing video, watching videos on how to work the studio software that I have, and then I finally landed on an editing software and downloaded that. And then there was like this really steep learning curve on the editing software. I thought it was going to be really easy. But hey, how's it going? You guys are really up. Man, I thought I would be really talking to myself. How are you all tonight? I have like a special little thing. I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm not going to be on really long. I told my wife uh, today I was supposed to tear all this apart. So tomorrow I'll be tearing this all apart. And the next time I come to you live, I'll be in a whole different other place. I'm kind of excited about that because it's not going to be long until I get my bedroom back. So I'm kind of happy about that. I'm doing really good, And hi, Connie and Ruthann and Winter. And I dig Daytona, so do I. Only, like the only thing, when I go to the grocery store, I always get one of those Daytona carts, Daytona shopping carts. You guys know the one. It's making a left turn. It's making another left turn. I never can get a shopping cart that just goes straight, right? It's always a Daytona cart, always. So I guess maybe I'm special. Oh, you did? Right on, man. I'll have to go check it out. I think I have you subscribed. I'm not sure. If I don't, I will. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I get that one too. The thump, thump, thump one. You know. I even told the store manager. I was like walking by him the other day, and I'm like, "It's making a left turn. It's making another left turn." And he's like looking at me all funny. I go, "Racing car," like that. And then he busted up laughing. He thought that was pretty funny. But okay, well, without further ado, after messing around, like I think the first 3 hours of editing, I did 3 minutes. My wife was making fun of me. She came in 3 hours later, and she goes, "Well, how are you doing?" And I let her watch this one little clip, 3 minutes. She's like, "You've been in here that long, and you only did 3 minutes?" It's like, yep. But I couldn't figure out. It was confusing, and what I did was to confuse myself was I tried like 3 or 4 different editing softwares in the last few days, and I was trying to make the computer crash, right? Because one of the things that stresses a computer to the max is editing. So I was editing and watching videos and playing around and doing all kinds of stuff and playing games even while it was rendering even, and couldn't get it to slow down at all. It absolutely is amazing me on the computer technology today. But right now, what I landed on finally was Shotcut. That's the one. I can't afford to buy any, so I had to go with the free stuff. And there was a couple of them I tried, and they had like watermarks on them, and it was like I can't have watermarks. And then I found out I could because I have Windows 10, it doesn't come with Movie Maker, and I'm real familiar with Movie Maker, so I put Movie Maker on there, but only it was like, what am I doing? I'm limiting myself with Movie Maker. It just doesn't really do anything. You know what I mean? Like, hardly does anything. And I thought about Filmora, but only you gotta buy Filmora. That's one of those ones where you could use the trial one. I used a few trial ones. Adobe, can't remember all of them. There's a lot, man. There's a lot of them. Um, Yeah, $60, but $60 for me, man, that's a lot of money. I only have like $8 after I pay my auto insurance, all the bills, and then the last one's auto insurance. I have $8 usually at the end of the month. So I mean, like $8. I would have to save that up for what, 8 months, and then I would be able to afford it, or sell something. I don't know. I don't know. Only let me go and let me I'm not done with this. This is just uh I you know I actually, it's just from playing around, okay, trying to figure out the editing software. This is by no means my finished product or anything like that, but I have a feeling you'll enjoy it. I really do. And it really, it goes into the Wayback Machine, right? And with me and Jeffrey in Paranormal Central. But I think you'll enjoy the Wayback Machine. Okay, so without further ado, we hit the Wayback Machine.
Broadcasting live from Central California with your hosts Jeffrey Gonzalez and Alan Thomas. Broadcasting video worldwide at ParanormalCentral.net and broadcasting audio on the Dark Matter Network at ArtBell.com. Are you ready to witness something that you cannot explain?
I'm looking for you. You're looking for me. We have to decide what it will be. Can it be true? Can I believe the unexplained? Look into the sky.
Want to get to.
Right.
But I think that this expansive experience over many different fields is what kind of very uniquely prepared me to analyze the Patterson film in a way that no one had ever done before.
Correct. And when it comes to movies, you did this. You basically created Swamp Thing, the first one, correct?
Yeah, the first one I was a makeup designer and supervised all the creature effects, the bodysuit for Swamp Thing, the arcane monster, the other makeup effects in there. And oddly enough, most people don't know, but I actually play the villain monster, the arcane monster, in the last half of the fight scene in the swamp where he fights Swamp Thing and finally dies.
Ah.
And I'm actually the guy in the suit when he's dying there in the swamp.
That's cool.
Originally, another stuntman named Ben Bates was playing the part, but halfway through the fight, paramedics grounded him. They said, he's getting faint. He can't perform anymore. So they literally said, he's done for the day. And they needed somebody else to get in it. I was fairly close in height and build. And I at least understood the dangers and the challenges, the physical stress of performing in a costume.
Right.
And I had grown up next to a stuntman, so I had some idea of basic stunt work. So I basically just said, oh, what the hell, I'll get in the damn suit. Let's just keep going and, finish the movie.
Believed that we were with days away from disclosure, because the minute the president says, I was briefed, within 48 hours, this thing's over. It is just going to snowball. You're going to suddenly have 2,000 reporters on the White House lawn. Every major network, like say Washington Post, New York Times, they're able to put 7 or 8 reporters on a story if they believe that this story's for real. And they all have high-level intelligence sources, all high-level military sources. And once the president agrees that he's been briefed, then these people are going to start to open up. Right. And this story's going to start unraveling. And it'll unravel like the Monica Lewinsky story. I believe that if it ever does break, it'll be like the Monica Lewinsky. It's just going to be boom. It's going to be like...
Silhouette, huge body, and the little sliver of moon, we had to look at him. And he took one breath. The whole time they're screaming, I took one breath, and it sounded like a 300-pound lung filling up. He started screaming again. Now, this probably only went on for about 5 or 6 minutes. It seemed like forever. And the decibels coming out of this cavity, this body cavity, the vocals would make you deaf if you were up close. Just incredible, the shrill. finally, he turned and walked away, and the next day we got enough nerve to climb up on the ridge, and we saw the trail he made coming in, and we saw the trail he made leaving. And he smashed into a forest on both sides.
Wow. Cool.
So that, you know, I didn't. That was not a pleasant situation. And we had a paddle club, a canoe kayak club called Northern Arizona Paddle Club and Outdoors, and they'd heard something happen to us, and I was like in denial for like a month. And I think this was 1998. And my buddy, he finally, you know, he was convinced it was a banshee. I was convinced it was a Bigfoot.
Right.
So I think we still have a difference of opinion to this very day, but that's pretty much what launched me looking into what happened to us, and launched me into looking at some of the other circumstances we encountered over the years that I couldn't quite put my finger on. And then everything made perfect sense having this type of encounter, that it was some type of large hairy hominid.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Gonzalez, and you are now listening and watching Paranormal Central, coming to you live from the scariest place on earth, Fresno, California. My co-host, Alan Thomas.
Hello, everyone.
You are listening to the movie that scared me when I was a kid.
And me too.
And I'm sure for all those who know, just listen. Remember the legend of Boggy Creek? Oh boy, do I ever. Tonight we have Lyle Blackburn. Oh.
What do you boys think about going turkey hunting this year?
Turkey hunting? Yeah, let's go turkey hunting.
Really? My mom wants me to ask you, would you come down now?
Remember all that? Turkey hunting?
Some kind of
Legend of Boggy. We have Lyle Blackburn on, you guys, tonight, and we're going to be talking about the legend of Boggy Creek. We're gonna have a good night tonight. Talk about monsters. What we like to talk about here all the time is monsters, and that's what we're going to be doing tonight. And Lyle Blackburn is probably the man. If you have any questions, he can answer them. He's probably been at it since probably he was in diapers. Okay, now, when was the last sighting of the Boggy Creek monster?
This year, there's been about 3 or 4 at least.
Shut up. Really?
You know, a lot of times I'll hear about these and try to, you know, follow up and find the witness and interview them and document the report. So there's been a consistent amount of sightings, you know, that come my way. And, of course, I'm sure there's a lot more that nobody tells anybody about. But there's been at least 4 in the last year that I've known of that I would consider credible sightings.
Now, let's talk about, you know, the Boggy Creek monster. People say it's just another Bigfoot, but I think there's a difference in them. And right away, what tells me there's a difference between Bigfoot and the Boggy Creek monster is the footprints, right?
Yeah, that's one of the problems with all this because, you know, by all appearances, it's described as a Bigfoot, you know, maybe 7 foot tall, covered in hair, large, bulky, walks on 2 legs. But, yeah, there are some differences that, you know, you would see between this creature and, you know, maybe typical descriptions of the Pacific Northwest variety. And one of those that people believe is it has 3 toes. And a lot of the southern Sasquatch sightings or footprint finds, you know, do suggest that maybe some of these creatures have 3 toes. Now, in the process of researching this, I have found people with actually good track castings of 5-toed creatures. There has been reports of footprints found that had 4 toes, and then there's been some that have 3 toes. So it's almost like any of these Bigfoot things, you know, where the jury is still out and we're looking into this, but there's definitely some things that suggest that it could be a different, I don't know, you know, I think it's all part of the same species, but, you know, there's some differences.
See, that's where I was going to. You know, Alan said, well, you know, the 3 toes, I've heard stories of reptilian type of creatures, and they're the ones who are leaving the three-toe footprints, man.
Lizard dudes.
So what do you think? I mean, have you heard that?
They almost look like gator tracks.
In the book, I have a section called "The Trouble with Three Toes," and that was a good way to title that.
I can't remember the show I was watching, but and it had the guy that saw the Boggy Creek, and then he went out all the time, and I think he even died going out there all the time, but climbed up the tree and finally got like a video of him, a film.
Yeah,
and it looks just like
Harlan Ford. He was the original witness to a creature called the Honey Island Swamp Monster, which was seen back in the 1960s and 70s near Slidell, Louisiana, which is close to New Orleans. And that creature, and just like you mentioned before, any of them that are kind of associated with swamps always seem to have three toes. And in the case you're talking about, Harlan Ford did claim to have found a three-toed track, and he did get some track castings. However, in that case, just like in the Boggy Creek case of the three toes, there's some very suspicious things about that track that don't quite add up. So again,
well, his video,
I don't know, maybe, I don't know what to think.
The film he had, it looked like a Sasquatch. I mean, I seen a Sasquatch here in California. I mean, it wasn't as shaggy as that, but that's what he was looking at. Walk through there. I always think that those three-toed things almost look like they're getting some big gator track, where they're stepping in their track. Each track, and it almost looks like a bear will step in its track, in the back. That's what it looks like to me, like two, where its back foot steps in its front track is what it looks like.
Yeah, no, you're right. That looks so much like an alligator track that it's hard to imagine. And then the film, looks more like a Bigfoot. Well, his original description of the Honey Island Swamp Monster was not your typical Bigfoot description. It was almost more a little bit more wolf-like or something. It didn't seem like what he originally describes was a Sasquatch, like what you see in that later film.
And Akhenaten came into power at a very important time. Jesus came into power at a very important time. And a very important time just happened last year. Remember the end of the Mayan calendar, the end of the world?
Yep.
Remember all that BS?
Right.
Well, all it was the end of a very long cycle. And part of what happened is the reign of the Fisher King, Jesus, ended. And part of what I've been told by mystics and Native American prophecy keepers and Mayan prophecy keepers is that the new age has begun. The 26,000-year-long cycle has ended, and the new cycle has begun. And the world is going to change, and the world has to change. Because I think if we all are honest and we look in the mirror, we know that the biggest problem we have on this planet right now is there's too many people. It's the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. But we all know it's there. And I'm not talking about, killing people or reducing population. I'm talking about education. I'm talking about people being smart about reproduction. We have to do something, and we've got to change the way we're treating our planet. And according to this long-range cycle, last December 21st is when that whole thing begins to turn around. And part of the turnaround comes with truth. Before we can go forward into the future intelligently, we have to know where we've been. We need to know the truth about where we've been. And it's not just about Jesus. It's about all the stuff. And that's what we're trying to talk about on our show. And if nothing else, guys, I'm totally serious when I say this. It's rare that you get an opportunity to be part of something that's bigger than yourself. And to have this opportunity to do this show, to reveal some of this truth, and to help make a positive change, I am thrilled and honored to death. And, And that's if we even change one little thing, then I feel like it's all.
Nice rapport with this guy. You know, I interviewed him for the movie. Well, he calls me one day, and granted, I live 12 hours away from him, maybe longer. It's a long drive. He calls me, he says, "You need to come here right now." I said, "What's going on?" He said, "I have some footage that you need to see." I said, "Well, can you tell me about it?" He said, "I'll tell you this, when you see it, your jaw's going to hit the floor." I said, "Okay." I got in the car, canceled all my meetings, and I drove straight to Rachel, Nevada. Promise you. Swear on my father's grave. Everything I'm going to tell you is exactly as it happened. Get to his house. He hits the play button, and there is like the quintessential road trip video with two guys just traveling around. They're going to go to Area 51 and go to Rachel, Nevada and look at the alien and, you know, the extraterrestrial highway signs, and they're goofing off, and they're just, you know, "Hey, Bob, get a load of this," you know, and they're posing next to this stuff, and you see this whole thing on the road, and they're playing music, and then they're in the they're in the little alien, and they're posing next to aliens, and you know, all that stuff. All of a sudden, the car's parked. They're inside the car, and there's a light source, and they're screaming at each other. Okay, the car's parked. They're screaming at each other, "Get down, get down, get down, it's over us." Like this, he's like, "Get down," and you see this light, okay? So the car's here, there's a source of light shining down in the car, and your perspective is on the inside. You see the dashboard, you see some of the side panels, you see their knees, like they're not filming it very well. They're freaked out, and they're low. They're down low on the floorboards. "Get down, get down."
They're like hiding from it, right?
Yeah, and the light source is eerily like the shadows on the inside of the car. There's a really bright light on the dashboard, and then the shadows are kind of rocking around in this way that you've never seen before. Okay, I've never seen anything like it. I remember looking at it going, "This is odd. The light source must be doing something that I've never seen a light source do before," but it's really flooding the light like Close Encounters, like Steven Spielberg style. Right. And they're screaming at him, and all of a sudden the kid, and so they're rocking around like this, and the kid goes, there's a younger guy, there's a guy who's like in his late 20s, and a guy that's about 18, 19, he goes, "I'm getting out." "Don't get out." And they start arguing. He goes, "I'm getting out." Grabs the camera, opens the door. The camera goes panning from the floor of the desert floor. Okay, all dirt, desert floor, and it's dusk. It's not dark, it's not light, it's dusk. You can see it, the ground, you can see all the dust, the desert floor, and these, what do you call it, tumbleweeds. And the camera pans up like this, and there about 100 feet or less, maybe 75 feet off the ground, is this perfect disc.
Yes. If you're out there, lonely, don't be lonely. You ain't the only. Driven out by thieves, watch them pillage the planet. Fueled by fattening greed, trees fall to the hatchet, chopping against the grain. Spirits in a vacuum sadly ignore the pain. The end arrives and we all lose. We all lose. I hope it comes around. Driven out, holding out, day by day survival. Castaways have silent lives with the strength to rival you. Rival you. Now I'm driving in my car. I used to be able to walk this far. Now I turn on the light. Used to be able to sleep at night. I'm cooking with microwaves to warm up my food that's not seen the soil. Plugged into my TV, and I'm used to the lies they're telling me. Yeah, I hope it comes around. Driven out, holding on, day by day survival. Castaways have silent lives with the strength to rival. Driven out, I'm holding out. This could take up my best time. Driven out, holding out, with the strength to rival you. Rival you. Rival you. Well, I'm hoping that we'll find out to life that meets the eye. Can we escape this grind? Build a life that's more worth the while. Be rid of this empty pride, so full of selfishness inside. Gonna bathe in a turning tide. Until then we all hide. We all hide. We all hide. We all hide. Hope it comes around. Driven out, holding out, with the strength to rival you. Castaways have silent lives, with the strength to rival. Driven out, holding out, as it takes up my best time. Takes up my best time, with the strength to rival you. Rival you. Rival you. I'm looking for you, counting on you, hoping it's true. You and me both, driven out home.
Well, so what do you think, guys? Gotta turn my mic up, man. I turned it down so that I wouldn't, like, interfere. Let me go back to the chat. Okay. Yeah, it is a Central, no, it's X-Files pinball. Yeah, X-Files. Yeah, so, oh, you did? So I'm gonna have to. I'll check the messages. I've been getting, like, I don't know. Somebody gave away my phone number or something. I'm getting arrested by the IRS and the sheriffs, and I have people leaving me messages saying they love me and that I need to send my, do things back. And some of them are even my own phone number. I was told by the T-Mobile people not to dial my own, like redial that or something like that. It's like almost my own phone number. Weird stuff, man. And I've been getting like 20 or 30 of them an hour. So my phone went to mute. It died a few times because of how many times, but it's weird. Yeah, like his new synthesizer guy or the other synthesizer guy. Yeah, they're all scams. You're right. It didn't scare me in the least. When they said they were the IRS, and then they said I got another one where it was like some machine sounding AI lady. And man, they were like leaving a message every 5 minutes and telling me that it was like very important that I call them back at this certain number. Otherwise, they were sending the police to my door and stuff like that. I was like, oh my God, what else can go wrong, around with electronic junk with me? The old guy that got fired, Anthony, Possessed Tranquility, that is actually the music I'm in the video. I'm gonna put like pictures going back real far, and I'll try to I want to put it in a timeline of like from the way back all the way until right about when we split, and just make the timeline like that, and have Possessed Tranquility music playing in and out, like show pictures and have Possessed Tranquility playing, and then have that go out with and come in with like a little snip or clip of somebody that we interviewed with, telling a little bit of a story, like how that was. It's not the cops, man. It's some crazy maniacs that got my phone number, and they're saying that I owe the IRS, and they're sending the marshals. Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know the IRS. Believe me. What's funny is I was talking to one of our. I was reading a Facebook, and somebody else was getting calls of the same from the same people, I guess, and they're cops, right? The ones that were getting the calls are cops, and they were like, so what's the arrest warrant? What's the number on it and stuff like that? Because they can check it, you know, they're a cop. They should know if they have a warrant. It was pretty funny. Yeah, so I'm like all jazzed up. The whole time that I was running that video right now and letting it play. So I'm running YouTube, I'm running the studio program, and then was running that video. And I have another window open with another video on pause where I was learning how to set up the mic with compressors and gates and stuff like that, so the background noise doesn't leak over. But I was only running at 5.1% of what the computer processor can do while I was doing that. And I'm jazzed because there's no limit now. I'm gonna have a lot of fun. I mean, I think that was fun. I know it isn't the best little editing job or whatever, but I thought it was the little stories are interesting, and I thought you guys might find a little tidbit taste of what is to come. You might find that interesting. Well, anyways, I gotta go. It is late, really late, almost 12 o'clock my time, and I knew that if I went live, That's funny. Yeah, that's pretty good, man. I wondered if, I wonder what people are going to think, I wonder what Jeffrey's going to think. He has no idea, but I wonder what he could do to me. Can he sue me for doing that? Since he owns Paranormal Central trademark and all this stuff, like, I think he's going to come after me for it. Yeah, I have no idea. But I do know that going live, and one, it was testing the computer out to see if I could actually go live, play a video, make the audio and everything sync up right, and not be overpowering everybody and blasting everybody, because all the audio on every one of those clips was different. Some was really low and you couldn't hear it hardly, and except for Jeff was really high and clipping really bad at the highest points. And some of them, the guest was real high and clipping real bad, like JC Johnson, the one with JC Johnson, it was really high. And it was, so, I had to adjust all the levels in each clip and everything. So it was pretty fun to do. And then I want to say one last thing before I go. Miss you, JC Johnson. Praying for all your family, man. Interviewed him like 3 times over the years, and he was a really good man. And it's really sad that we have one less guy chasing monsters. Well, anyways, you guys, you have a really good morning now, and I shall see you real soon. Tomorrow I'm probably going to take all this down, so I'll be somewhere else the next time I see you. But you guys have a really good morning. I know it's morning somewhere around the world and about to be morning where I am tomorrow. And I will be calling you. What time? What time's a good time to call you? Like 5:30 or something like that. Something like that. Hey, Fire Dude. Bye, Fire Dude. 10 p.m. or 10 a.m.? I might not be up at 10 a.m., but, 5 a.m. Yeah. That's about when I hit the sack, probably. About 5, Bye, Winter. Okay, you guys, text me. Text me when you're ready. That's a good way to do it. Night, Fire Dude. Night, Connie and Renee. Sweet dreams, Renee, and with Adrian and Heather Locklear. You have a good one, you guys. You all have a good one.